Commander Jurassic here. Today we're going to be learning all about fleet carriers, what happens if you buy and want to upgrade later, where to actually get the upgrades, and where to actually buy your fleet carrier. Also, we're going to be learning about how much the modules cost, and learning how much tritium we're going to need per route. So to start off with, we're going to be using Inara, and we're going to be underneath the data section where it says stations. You want to put in whatever star you're nearest to. Down here where it says station services, you're going to click down, type in fleet, and we're looking for a carrier vendor. This is if you don't have a fleet carrier and you're looking to purchase one. We click the search button. It's going to pop up the closest station. For example, ours is going to be in Grand Hub, and to show you what it looks like in-game, this is how you realize that it's going to be a fleet carrier vendor. You go inside the Grand Hub, and just like you're buying a ship, it'll have a little option there to purchase your new fleet carrier. Once you land at your closest area that sells it, for example, Grand Hub is a place, head over to your contacts panel. We're going to notice we have a fleet carrier vendor. From here, you just click on it, and then you're able to purchase your own fleet carrier. Obviously, you're only allowed to buy one, and you're going to need a $5 billion upfront cost. It has 4 small, 4 medium, and 8 large pads. Basically, the default carrier is going to have everything for the commander themselves. However, if you have any friends, they're not going to be able to do as much on the carrier, so you are going to need to buy some upgrades if you want everyone to be able to do the same stuff. Now from here, if you click the 4 key and you head over to carrier management, this is going to now bring up your carrier services. Now let's say that you weren't wanting to invest totally into your fleet carrier just quite yet. You can upgrade it later on. There's a few things that we can learn how to set up though. So we have a budget. This is what you're going to need to put on inside your fleet carrier. That way it automatically pays its tariffs. On top of that, you're going to be able to set buy and sell orders. That way people are able to grab the commodities or sell them at a later date. So to do that, all you have to do is click deposit / withdrawal. And if you're wanting to deposit, just add in your credits here, or withdraw if you're trying to take it off. You click on confirm and it'll automatically put it on the side of your carrier. And we have commodity trading, so let's manage the market. You might have just got your fleet carrier because of the new colonization efforts. So for example, liquid oxygen here, we have stock 1500. We click on that. If you want to trade this commodity, you click that, click on sell, and then have whatever sell price you want. If you're just trying to buy and sell yourself, you can have it set to 5%, that we don't have to worry about it. Click on apply. And then another way that's really easy is just to clear all the filters and then click in stock. And click apply. This is going to be all your materials that you have in stock on your fleet carrier. That way you're not having to look through that list the entire time. But you might be wondering, if it's set to 5%, can't other people just land on your fleet carrier and get a huge steal from it? Well, from there you click on the settings tab, and then the docking access, you can have it set to friends only, squadron and friends, none or all. If you have it set to all, anyone's going to be able to buy from it. If you have it set to none, only you're going to be able to land on your own fleet carrier, so it doesn't really matter. And also you can change like the notorious commander access, current activity, illegal equipment trading, or you can decommission your fleet carrier if you choose to. There is going to be a weekly fee attached to your fleet carrier. The less amount of models you have in your fleet carrier, the cheaper the cost is going to be. Now, for example, if you don't want to do this anymore, you just click on trade commodity, click apply. That is going to take it off the market. That way you can set it back up to open and do like the big jump over to work on engineering materials. As long as it's unselected, people aren't going to be able to buy from it, and you're going to notice that it goes from a solid to a grayed out area. Now, one interesting bug inside this game, whenever you're buying commodities, you are going to have to go in and out of the menu. So for example, if we were to buy the titanium, let's say we just bought it, we're going to have to load it up and then put it back on there. So now we have that all set. So hold on. So let's do this. I'm going to set it to all. All right, so now that we have that all set, we have carrier services. This is where you can decide what kind of optional services you want. The more services you have put inside of your fleet carrier, the more of a weekly cost you're going to have. It comes default with a tritium deposit, commodity trading, and a bridge crew. You can upgrade it here if you want to, or you can upgrade it later on, which I will show you in a second, or you can upgrade it from a remote location outside of the carrier vendor locations. By the way, another interesting fact, your fleet carrier is always going to have gold text to signify that it's your fleet carrier. Let's say that you made it back to your fleet carrier, you're not inside of a system that has the fleet carrier vendor. What would you do from there? Well, we can change our search. Instead of looking for the vendor, If we type in fleet carrier again, you're going to notice there's an administration. We click search. Any of the systems that have a fleet carrier admin is actually going to allow you to upgrade your fleet carrier without having to go a whole bunch of different places. Now, if you're curious to see like what the different costs are, we have a website which will also be linked down here. You can see the base installations are all at the very top. Everything's going to stay installed by default. Now, if you want to add in a refuel module, it'll show you the increase in the weekly cost. So the default weekly cost is 5 million. If you want a refuel module, that's going to be 1.5 million added. If you want a repair module, that's going to be another 1.5 million. So now you're looking at 8 million. And then if you want a shipyard, that's going to be all the way up to 14.5 million per week. So now you have all that figured out, we head back inside of our carrier services here. And from here, we are going to be able to click on the carrier management. For our specific example, we're going to have the ones that I consider the bare necessity. That's going to be the refuel, repair, and shipyard. That's going to allow people to call their ships over to your carrier. And it's also going to show you the exact amount that's going to be added inside of your weekly cost. If you ever decide to keep the module but you don't want it to be currently active, you only have to do the upfront. So far it's going to be 90 million between the fuel and the repair, and then it's going to be 250 million for the shipyard. So all in all, that's going to be a $340 million upfront purchase that we're going to have to do. Looks like that's going to take a while to load in, but let's go and get on to the next one. Now, as you guys can see, we have the carrier balance up here at the top. As soon as we click on it, it should automatically pull from that. Then we went to the shipyard, which is going to require 50 extra space, apparently. Now, you can click buy a certain amount, but you can only sell based on everything. So, for example, we'll do a sell order. We'll just grab that up real quick. That way it frees up our carrier, and then we can continue the video. Alright, so we got the titanium here. Go ahead and buy up everything inside the option here. You're going to notice it stays there and then it disappears immediately. This is where you either load into the main menu and it'll fix it, or you back out, go back inside, and the game will automatically say cargo hold full, and it'll actually recognize that you have the titanium on you. Now, especially for like the commodity markets going on, for example, if we wanted to buy aluminum, we can set up a buy order, set whatever we want, so we'll just keep it at 5%, saying we're doing it ourselves. And then you're going to notice that you can move the quantity here. That's going to increase the carrier's capacity, even though you're not actually buying anything. But the interesting thing is, you can buy the exact amount of quantity here. That way, whenever you sell back to your fleet carrier, it's going to automatically know the exact amount that you're needing to advance. Currently, we have plenty of space, so we can go back inside of the module and upgrade it. So I'll be carrier services, and as you guys can see, we have our refuel station operational, repair operational, and now we're going to be going for a shipyard. That's going to be 250 million. That'll be done here in a minute. So I guess if you don't like the way the person looks, you can just keep replacing. It looks like it's the exact same capacity allowance and everything else, so I'm not seeing anything different between any of these people. You don't have to pay to stop them or anything. Alright, so we figured all that out. What happens if you have tritium inside your inventory? How do you deposit it? Well, if you click on the tritium, this is going to hold 1,000, but it doesn't actually count towards the weight. So once you have the tritium in your inventory, just click on donate. For example, we have 20 on us from the previous station. Click confirm. It'll automatically deposit that. And then you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you're trying to jump your fleet carrier off to a system, for example, let's go over that. So that's going to be carrier management. You're going to click on the navigation panel and click open galaxy map. Now, it's going to be a little bit different. So, for example, Linka, if we click on the view star map, if you have the data for the star system itself, you're going to notice that there's going to be a whole bunch of these random fleet carrier symbols. That's how you can tell if it can actually jump to that spot. You can see it's set carrier destination. If you don't have any data in the system, you're not going to be able to pick a certain spot to actually send it to. So, like Capricorn B, we were able to park next to Martin Enterprise. Unfortunately, if you're going to an area on the middle of unknown, you don't really have too many options, but at least you'll be able to land on a planet that you're wanting to go to. Now, if you did buy a different skin for your fleet carrier, that's going to be down here in the livery section. You can click on the fleet carrier livery, and that's going to pull you up the store here, which this is all going to require art in order to change the different appearance of it, but it's not actually going to do anything different compared to like the base fleet carrier. They all operate the exact same. The only thing you're going to be able to do is change engine detailing, landing pad, guide markers, air traffic control, voice, concourse theme, and the default paint job. You can also add in a nameplate too, but I think you have to pay for all these. Yeah, you do. And this is the different layouts that you have here. So this is the stock. This is the Fortune. We have the Nautilus. And we have the Victory class carrier. Now, this is completely my opinion. The modules that we picked, I think those are going to be more of like your bare bones, like that's what most people are going to be wanting from a fleet carrier. You don't necessarily need to have too much other stuff inside of here, like the armory. That's not really going to be too big of a deal. Redemption office, that's just more of a convenience, but you're still able to do more just going to a station, and it costs a lot compared to just have the module on. Outfitting, that'd be kind of convenient if you store modules inside your fleet carrier. If not, you could always just buy it before you get on your fleet carrier. We have the secure warehouse and then the universal cartography, which the cartography table could be useful if you're going out to the bubble. That way you don't have to worry about losing your data while you're flying around. But before we get off, we got one more thing to show you. So the third and final website is going to be the fleet carrier router. So this is going to be able to tell us exactly where we are and how much it's going to cost tritium-wise to get to a location, and we can also see how much it's going to cost to come back. So for example, we're in Capricorn AB. We're going to HIP 36601, which is going to be where the grade 5 engineering stuff is. And then we have used capacity. This is going to be how much weight is on your fleet carrier. So for example, we'll calculate it when it's completely empty. That's going to cost us 239 tons of tritium to make it all the way across if we have 0 capacity. Now, the ships that we have stored inside our fleet carrier is not going to add towards the weight. The fuel is also not going to add towards the weight. However, anything else is going to be. So we go inside of the carrier management, and in the top corner here, we're going to see we have 24,310 out of 2,500. So the 24,310 is the number that we care about. Also, anything that you pull off of your fleet carrier and store in your ship is also going to weigh less for you. So for example, we got 24,310, which is what we currently have on our carrier. We're at Capricorn. We're going here. We click calculate. And this is going to pop up the exact amount. So we're going to need 451 tritium to make it from Capricorn B all the way over to HIP 36601. Then obviously we're going to need the same number again to come back to the same location that we started from. You also click show route. It's going to give you an estimate that it's going to take about an hour to get from here all the way out to the middle of nowhere. If this guide helps you figure out your fleet carriers, put that note in the description down below. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope this helped, Commanders.